Okay, let's jump right into this explainer and figure out if your product strategy is actually setting you up for market dominance or, well, total irrelevance. We're unpacking a really powerful framework today, one that separates the visionary companies creating the future from the ones that just kind of fade into obscurity. Let's get into it. Think about it. Are you actually innovating? Or are you just, tweaking button colors and calling it a massive disruption? Because you might think you're innovating when your engineering team spends 3 months launching a slightly better reporting dashboard. There's high fives all around, everyone's celebrating, but in reality, you're trapped in the innovation illusion, while your competitors are out there literally inventing the future. Now, on the flip side, maybe your company is totally obsessed with wild moonshots. You see this massive divide all the time. It's like incremental updates for a dying legacy app on one hand, and then these completely unvalidated moonshots for non-existent markets on the other. Most product teams just don't have a structured way to balance those safe incremental updates with the bold, high-risk bets. They treat all product development as if it carries the exact same strategic weight. And spoiler alert, it absolutely doesn't. So let me ask you a pretty brutal question. What are you funding? Like, really think about it for a second. Out of all the engineering hours your company spent last month, how much was dedicated to actually creating tomorrow's cash flow versus just keeping yesterday's product on life support? If you don't know that exact percentage, man, your product strategy is running entirely on blind hope. Section 1. The cost of extremes. Let's see what happens when you don't intentionally balance that portfolio. Look, if you only invest in tweaking what you already have, your growth is going to hit a wall. You're trapped in an existing market, locked in this grueling, super expensive fight just to steal tiny fractions of market share from competitors. But if you swing way too far the other way and only chase massive wild risks, you're going to run out of capital long before any of those bets actually find product market fit. It's a lose-lose. The absolute crucial point here is this: you cannot fund the future without protecting the present. But you also can't survive the future by only investing in the present. If your product roadmap is just some random assortment of whatever the loudest stakeholders screamed about in the last meeting, you are mathematically guaranteeing your own irrelevance. You absolutely need deliberate balance. And just a quick reality check for us all. Moving a menu bar from the left side of a screen to the right side of the screen, that is not innovation. It's just a UI tweak. We've got to stop slapping the word innovation on basic maintenance, like changing a button color, just to make the roadmap look exciting to the CEO. Which brings us to Section 2, the Innovation Ambition Matrix. To fix all this chaos, Bansi, Nagji, and Geoff Tuff came up with this brilliant framework to map out your product portfolio. So let's break down the 3 categories, starting right here with core innovations. These are those incremental enhancements to existing products for existing markets. Basically, your core innovations are your bread and butter. The goal isn't to reinvent the wheel here. It's just to keep your product attractive, fiercely defend your market share, and, most importantly, generate the profits today that keep the lights on. Next up, we step out a little bit into adjacent innovations. This means taking an existing product into a totally new market, or maybe bringing a new product to your existing market. This space really lets you stretch your legs. You're taking the assets your company already does incredibly well and pushing them into a new, adjacent space. So you're using your existing strengths, but you're expanding your footprint. And this perfectly illustrates how top companies actually grow. Think about it. Apple leveraged their huge hardware and software ecosystem to jump into the wearables market with the Apple Watch. Or look at Google. They leveraged their absolute dominance in web tech to build the Chrome browser. They didn't start from scratch, right? They just pushed their existing strengths into highly profitable new spaces. But here's a pretty stark reality check. Disrupt or die. Adjacent and core innovations are safe, for sure, but their growth is mathematically capped by your ability to capture market share. That means if your company wants massive, exponential, long-term growth, you have to look elsewhere. You just can't rely on those safe bets forever. If you want that crazy exponential growth, you have absolutely no choice but to invest in category number 3, disruptive innovations. This means going after a completely new market with a brand new product. These are your high-risk, high-reward moonshots. Yes, they require massive strategic effort. Yes, they carry a ton of uncertainty, but they are literally the key to building the future. Just think about how Apple completely disrupted mobile phones with the original iPhone. It wasn't just a slightly better phone, it was a totally new category. Or how Nintendo completely changed gaming with the motion-controlled Wii. They bypassed the whole traditional graphics war entirely. Or, hey, how Amazon pretty much birthed the online retail book market. These are massive, massive disruptive leaps. Section 3. The 70-20-10 rule. Let's see how we actually manage these investments. So, Nagji and Tuff didn't just define these categories and leave us hanging. They established a real golden rule for managing these investments. Check out this ideal breakdown. Established companies should focus roughly 70% of their efforts on core innovations, 20% on adjacent, and 10% on disruptive ones. Doing this creates this beautifully balanced portfolio where your immediate needs and your future moonshots are all taken care of. And here's the beautiful secret behind this balance. Your core products fund tomorrow's experiments. Then, over time, if one of those disruptive innovations actually hits, it eventually turns into your new core. I mean, think about the iPhone. It was a massive disruption back in 2007, but now it's Apple's primary core product, funding their next generation of crazy ideas. Now, let's see how this plays out across different industries. You can absolutely tweak these ratios. A super fast-moving tech firm might need something like a 45-40-15 split just to stay competitive, right? While an established consumer goods company might safely invest up to 80% in their core. The exact numbers can flex based on how fast your market moves, but having an intentional allocation across all three zones, that part is non-negotiable. Because here is your final reality check. If you open up your roadmap next quarter and 100% of your budget is tied up in core bug fixes and tiny minor tweaks, you're not managing a portfolio anymore. You're managing a sinking ship. A business with zero future-facing investments is literally just running out of time. At the end of the day, product strategy is all about making deliberate choices. You've got to use this matrix to ruthlessly audit your investments. Just follow these 3 steps. Step 1, protect your cash cows with core innovations. Step 2, leverage your existing strength into adjacent markets. And step 3, always reserve capital to build those disruptive products that are going to secure your company's future. So, I want to leave you with a question. What if the most unbalanced, absolutely chaotic product roadmap you've ever dealt with? Drop a comment below and tell me all about it. Look, product development is tough, no doubt, but with the right framework, it doesn't have to be a blind guess. Keep building safely, but whatever you do, don't forget to take a massive swing at the future. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I will see you down in the comments.